We're on.
What's up, world? Holy shit. Transatlantic MMA.
You just went full robot there, mode.
I know. Do you wanna take a crack at that again, yeah?
Sure. Welcome to welcome to episode 4 of Transatlantic MMA. If you haven't been here before, good to have you. If you have, welcome back. We have so today's our first episode that includes a guest other than us, which is probably decent. Get some insight from a third party. So we have we'll get straight into it. We have waiting in the wings. We have one Danny Kennedy, who's the head coach of 10 Planet Dublin. I'm going to tag Danny straight into this meeting now. We'll get this episode underway. We're going to have a good chat with Danny, some 20 minutes, talk about what the state of jiu-jitsu in Ireland is at the minute, and then we'll get into some fight talk probably afterwards. So without further ado, bear with us. So any second now, we're going to be
there he is.
By Danny Kennedy. Danny, you're
on mute there again, Danny.
Look at technology, boys.
I know. I'll tell you what, Danny. Welcome. Good to chat to you, my friend. I was just saying, obviously, you're coach in 10 Planet Dublin, and unfortunately in lockdown like the rest of us in Ireland at the moment. So welcome to the podcast. Good to have you. Thank you for giving us the time and allowing us to have you on. And so what's the crack? How the hell are you?
Grand, bored, sick of the house. I get to get back on the mats again.
Yeah. Stuck.
How long have you been out for, Danny? Now, what is it? Pretty much since lockdown started, or did you get anything in after that?
No, so say Paddy's Day. I think we finished up the Saturday after Paddy's Day. So I've been off since. Yeah, it's bullshit. I hate it. But I mean, it has to be done. It's either that or kill your parents. So
I'll dive in here a little bit if I can. I'd like to rewind this a little bit. Dan, you've told me this before, and I remember it, but I'd love to kind of understand how you came to be involved with 10 Planet, and obviously heading up the gym in Dublin now. So how was your first kind of become involved, or even maybe before that, what was your first involvement with martial arts at all, and how did you kind of come to be in the position you're in now?
Well, I started training martial arts 20 years ago, actually. It was like 99, I think. So I was doing, it was like a traditional Japanese martial arts with Jinkin Budo Taijutsu. They told us we were ninjas, but we were not ninjas. So that was like my intro. I spent about 5 years training that, and then took a few years off. And then I kind of got into, my brother had a CrossFit gym, and a buddy of ours started training there, Mike. So Mike was talking to me about, he was training with Ray Butcher at a Team Balance. So Mike was like, oh, you should come in. You used to do martial arts. You should come in and do some jiu-jitsu. I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. I'll probably be pretty good because, I've trained before. So I went in. They all fucked me up. The fucking, 6-month white belts were tap dancing on me. I was like, oh, fuck. Okay, so I got to train.
Baptism of fire.
Yeah, that would be, I'm training like 7 years now, so that would have been like 2013 sometime, 2012, maybe.
Okay.
And then it was jiu-jitsu from there, yeah, pretty much.
And then 10 Planet, I suppose, you kind of, when was you kind of, I guess,
the program? That was actually through my brother. So my brother Jody was, we were all training, my brother Jody, myself, and then a friend of ours and our buddy Mike. We were all training in this place, Team Balance, Ray Butcher's place, and then we all kind of moved into George Santos in town. And then my brother got into 10 Planet, so he was like, oh, check this out, you seen this Eddie Bravo dude? So it was through him really that I got involved in it,
Yeah.
And Jeremy was over, he came over to England for a seminar, and my brother and his buddy went over to that. And then they got in touch with Jeremy, stayed in touch with him, and then started bringing him over to Ireland for seminars from there,
Okay.
Just stayed in touch. Jeremy's like,
so couple of questions there for you, Danny. How did you get by being tap danced initially? You know, how did you keep interested? And who's better between you and your brother? That's the most important.
Like people beating you up, it's like that's how you know it's a good martial art. You know what I mean? So if you're walking in and people are able to handle you, everybody's able to handle you. You're like, okay, well, this shit actually works. So in a way, it's like, you know, it feels shit at the time, but at least, you know, if you put the effort in, then it's going to be worthwhile in the end, you know?
Yeah.
And as for my brother, honestly, he was always better than me, but his fucking body didn't hold up. So he had two like pretty severe knee injuries. So he had to drop out of jiu-jitsu. So he hasn't trained in like 3 years, 4 years or something like that. So,
fuck yeah, that's a bad one. Having suffered a knee injury myself, I know the extent of the damage. But
it's about.
I mean, that makes him easier to beat now, though, I'd imagine.
I don't know. He's pretty fucking strong, honestly. He played rugby when he was young as well, so it's definitely an advantage.
It's an advantage having a male sibling. I think I wasn't blessed with a brother, so I'm a bit soft. But you have a couple now, so you're certainly a bit.
I had two older brothers as well that used to be fair, and a younger one, but my oldest brother is about 5'7", so he never really gave me too much shit because I was bigger than him at 15. And then my other brother, who's a little bit younger than him, the two of us used to clash. All right, that used to be a good bit of fun. Like, unfortunately, yeah, exactly. Good training. You know, you fucking get you into the real world. You know.
Well, they say that about John Jones. He's got like older brothers.
The two is Arthur and Chandler. Is that right? Two monsters, and both in the NFL.
Yeah, they're both in the NFL. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah. Danny, on training wise, obviously there's kind of a bit of a weird situation going on. If you weren't aware with the old coronavirus, how's I've heard, yeah, it's out there. What's the situation gym-wise like? Timelines? Do you have kind of any sort of an idea? Like, what are the reopening plans, or are there any?
I have no idea. Yeah, we're shut down, so we haven't trained since did I say that already? Paddy's Day. Like the Saturday after Paddy's Day that we shut down. So like I don't know,
7 weeks nearly.
6 weeks, yeah. It's like the longest break I've had since I started training. But I can't imagine we'll be open, you know, June. So like maybe July, maybe August, maybe September. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's very hard to say, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel rusty? Like how often were you training? Was it an everyday type thing, or 4 or 5 times a week?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I was in the gym 6 days a week. So I would usually train, like say I'm doing 2 days. So we've got like morning classes and lunchtime classes. So generally there's like either a morning and an evening, or lunch and an evening in a day, you know. So I was generally doing 2 days, but I wouldn't roll hard in the early classes. So I generally do my rolling in the evenings. But normally I do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday hard, Thursday off, Friday, Saturday hard. And like, yeah, it's I'm probably going to be rusty as fuck by the time we get back, because I literally haven't done anything apart from like, you know, solo drills or like, you know, some sort of fucking workout shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be shit. Everyone's going to be shit.
Yeah. What's the lockdown life been like? What have you been up to keep yourself sane? Have you some decent hobbies you picked up outside of jiu-jitsu over the last couple of weeks?
Not really. No, it's all the same. Just I'm going in the gym every now and then, you know, on my own, obviously, and just doing some fucking workout stuff. But like, that's it. Walking the dog, and nothing else going on.
Passing the time, basically. Yeah. Well, at least we have some. Watch instructionals, is it?
Not much, barely.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
Yeah, because you
just feel sad when you like watch it on the telly and then you can't go and practice.
Do it. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Well, look at least we're gonna have some fights in just over a week's time. I think. Right. Today is Friday now. Right. So yes, we've 8 days. So at least we're gonna have some fights to discuss. So I wanted to ask you on a kind of from a grappling perspective. The stylistic matchup, I suppose, between Tony and Gaethje. I know Gaethje's formerly a kind of a defensive wrestler, not too much of a kind of a grappling element there, but Tony's a serious wrestler too. So to get your take on it, you're a better grappler than Neil and I combined. So how do you kind of see that, or are there any other fights on the card from a grappling perspective that really kind of jump off to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tony's gonna elbows face off.
Not much grappling involved.
I would be surprised. Yeah, honestly, I would be surprised if it went to the ground. I think we'll probably see maybe one or two like kind of wrestling exchanges, but I would be very surprised if it spent any amount of time on the ground. Honestly, unless I don't know. You never know with Tony. Like he might just fucking wrestle the shit out of him. But honestly, I'm expecting a kind of more of a striking kickboxing match than wrestling, or grappling. Sorry, but you never know. Further down the card, I think the Oleinik and Verdum match is going to be. It's either going to be an epic grappling fest, or else the two of them are going to decide that neither of them really want to go to the ground. So it's going to be a shy kickboxing match.
Yeah. Well, Oleinik has definitely been quoted in interviews recently saying that he has every intention of bringing it to the ground, because although Verdum hasn't been great on the feet recently, he's still a black belt in Muay Thai. So, he's still got a significant advantage over Oleinik in the striking department. So, but then again, I would say Oleinik is probably the first man ever in MMA to say, I want to take Verdum down and grapple with him. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, what do you reckon if it does go to ground? Who you got, Danny?
Oh, Jesus. I couldn't pick. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, Oleinik fucking, did you see that Ezekiel he locked up where he locked up the Ezekiel and pulled a dude into mount, like pulled bottom mount to finish an Ezekiel. You know what I mean? So, like, that shit's unbelievable. So, but Verdum's a fucking absolute monster on the ground as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, you couldn't call it. It's so close. Like, I kind of have a little bit more, Oleinik's my boy, just because he's so crazy.
Yeah.
Verdum was a fucking monster, so I don't know. It's too close for me to call anyway. I hope Oleinik wins, but it could go either way, for sure. Well,
he's definitely, I mentioned earlier, I've been writing for Overtime Heroics, and I've just done the kind of prelim write-up, and that was just such an interesting matchup. And looking at Oleinik's record, where he's got 50-odd submissions, like it's absolutely absurd. But Verdum has never been taken down. Verdum has never been submitted. But one of the most interesting things is Verdum is big favorite in that fight, and I think the odds of Oleinik with a second round submission is something like plus 800 or something like that. I definitely think that's worth a tenner if ever I've seen one. If Oleinik wins that fight, like it's going to be submission.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I can't imagine a situation where he's certainly not in the feet. Like maybe he'll finish something with ground and pound, but I can't imagine him kickboxing his way to a finish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's gotta be like maybe strikes to set up a submission, or ground and pound would be the only way I could ever see him finish it with strikes.
Yeah. So
look it. That's if you had a tenner you didn't want to see again.
Yeah. Got that shit. Oh, absolutely. Oh, I'm absolutely putting money on that. And there's another one as well, Danny. It's the second fight of the night. It's Bryce Mitchell against DeRosa, and both. I mean, Mitchell's coming off that Twister win, which is only the second ever in UFC.
Oh yeah.
And DeRosa's he's I know he's a BJJ black belt, but he might be a second degree black belt as well. So like he's no joke. So that could be another contest that you'd probably be very interested in.
I'm not too familiar with DeRosa, honestly. So.
And what about Mitchell? Did you?
Mitchell's good. Yeah. He finished with a twister. I'm gonna pick him.
Yeah, Mitchell's favorite.
I don't know who the other dude is. So
yeah, DeRosa's fought some. I mean, he went 3 rounds with Yair Rodriguez, and that was I think that was a split decision that went in Rodriguez's favor. But he's also fought Kyle Bochniak. He's also fought another kind of top 10 contender. So Mitchell hasn't really got much under his belt in terms of, experienced fighters, whereas DeRosa has. So he's also very, very good on the ground. So I'm also interested in that one. So I definitely recommend you watch that one, Danny.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to watch the whole card.
Yeah. We've got
the only MMA going on.
Yeah. We've got a bit of
staying up for it, or are you going to watch it the following day?
I never stay up for it. I'm old.
I stay up for every card. I have it down to like a fine science. Get up at like 6 on Saturday, and go to sleep at like 5 p.m. Wake back up then at 8, and then stay up till 6, and then I have to get up at 11:30 on a Sunday to get back to bed Sunday night, so I can work then normal Monday through Friday. Yeah,
that's way too much effort.
I know. Yeah, years of perfected craft. That's
the system is I stay off the internet altogether.
Yeah,
and then I don't do anything illegal to find a stream of it at about 10 o'clock in the morning when I wake up.
Would you do the same for?
That's where I need to get to. I need to progress and get to your stage.
Would you do well, Ben? You look older than Danny, so I reckon you're already there.
I got some miles on me. Danny's a professional athlete by all accounts. Nearly a professional coach. I'll say.
I wouldn't say it like that.
Badass with my fucking headset here at home making phone calls.
Good.
What was I going to say now, Danny? And what's the head count at 10 Planet right now?
Yeah, I mean, COVID drop off, So we were kind of sitting before this. We were sitting around 75 members, something around 75 members, and we've probably lost about 20 or 25 guys. Over that, which is like totally understandable. It's like it's just not sustainable for some people to kind of stick around at the moment, just because we don't have a fucking like a date to aim for. I think if we knew how long this was going to go on for, then it'd be easier for people to kind of make a decision long term. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough time for small business.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's 75 in Dublin, yeah? Or it was 75 at least.
It was, 75 in Dublin,
yeah.
And what's you've been doing it for a while now, so like how much have you seen it increase over the last couple of years? It's obviously MMA is a very much a booming sport, so is it drastically increased, or is it kind of slowly and gradually increased? Or?
I think slowly, like for us anyway, slowly. It's been a kind of a slow burn, a very slow build. So we've been open, let me think now, we're in the building. I think we're open like 3 years, so it's kind of a slow burn for us, but a lot of the guys that started out with us are still here with us,
Yeah.
Mm.
So a lot of the early members are still there, which is kind of what you're aiming for, just trying to retain as many people as possible rather than grab like a fuckload of new people in,
Yeah. I was driving home or cycling home from work. I don't know if I told you this now. And it's like where the gym is like 200 meters from where my house was, right? And I'm like a massive Eddie Bravo fan, jiu-jitsu.
Smoke me all day!
So I'm just flying home on the bike, and I'm like almost at the house, and I see this big fucking sign for 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu, and I was like, it says like next left. I was like, I nearly went straight into the wall. I was like, what? I was like, whoop, left to straight, and I was like, what the hell's going on there? And I met Danny then for the first time. I was like, I'll be back next week. It was. I couldn't believe it, but I was like, just when you would relocate, Danny, right? But before you were You weren't too far away, but you kind of had to relocate.
Yeah, we were in Fairview, so it's only about 15 minutes up the road. But we moved. We just shifted down to that location in North Strand. Just we were kind of at the limit of what the space could take in there, you know.
Yeah.
And like it was a little bit, like it was fine. It was a great place to start out, you know. But just in terms of amenities, we had no bathroom or we had no running water or anything like that, you know.
Yeah.
So just when we wanted to kind of take it a bit more, like it's just a bit Mickey Mouse, you know. So at least we were then when we found that space, it's like a little bit closer to town. We had our like inside toilets. We were able to put the showers in, you know, running water, a little reception area, so and a bigger mat space as well. So it just kind of worked out well for us.
Yeah,
we were looking at it, you know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully now this fucking Corona bullshit isn't around for too much longer. We can get the damn doors wedged open soon and get people back grappling again.
I ordered a rake of new mats just before the coronavirus kicked off, you know, so they just arrived last week and I have not had a fucking roll on them. So we them out. They look amazing. It's real sexy, but I just haven't been able to fucking even my wife won't roll them.
I see that. Well, that's probably because you'd probably submit her fairly easily. You know what I mean? I don't think she's too much.
She's quite sturdy. She's a pincher.
They all do, Danny. They all do. And what's the obviously getting back to it? I would imagine I'm hoping you'd probably get a number of those kind of those members back. I would presume. One would hope at least. What's the kind of plan over the next couple of years? What are you trying to get to in terms of like growth and size?
Membership wise, 200 members, easy.
Over the next couple of years?
It's hard to put numbers on that stuff, So like we've got a morning class and a lunchtime class. So the plan is just to try and expand that stuff as much as we can. So like they're never going to be as busy as the evenings. But hopefully we can like build a bit of membership. The next thing then that we have on is to try to get we're looking at a ladies class, so twice a week, hopefully Tuesday and Thursday. We're trying to get some sort of girls class going, and then the kids program. And that's like if we can get through that stuff over the next kind of 2 years, that would take us to a nice position, I think.
Yeah,
nice. Well, best of luck with that.
Thank you. Very kind.
Absolutely. When I'm back in Dublin, I'm definitely going to pop in. I hope Ben is.
Mate.
What'd you say?
You won't be able for it.
Well,
you're right, Danny. He's
time will tell, Danny. Give me 6 months. I'll be choking you out.
Get in the hands up. You're pretty close.
I was hoping to bounce a couple of kind of grappling based MMA questions off you, Danny. I thought this question. I'm always going to think of these odd questions with MMA. Me and Neil are constantly talking about it. But from your perspective and your knowledge of the UFC champions currently, who is the best and worst grappler? Yeah, regardless of weight. Who in your opinion is probably the best? I suppose it doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu, I guess. Just best grappler, and who would be the most suspect grappler, do you reckon? I haven't fully thought about this.
Out of the champions, like I suppose you got to take Khabib as like the best grappler out of the champions, So his whole game is basically just, like some striking on the feet and then straight to the fucking grappling and ground and pound.
Yeah.
Worst is tough, man. That's a hard one. Yeah, for sure. Heck, I don't know.
Is it Stipe, maybe?
I was going to say Stipe, but I'm kind of half thinking about one of the girls.
Yeah.
Like the women's champions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Wiley we haven't seen anything from her on the ground yet, have we?
Yeah, like she's definitely a better kickboxer, for sure.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like her takedown defense is pretty good, but like I don't think I've ever seen. I haven't followed much of her like career before the UFC, but Like I don't think I've ever seen her finish a submission.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's true.
no,
I haven't seen Stipe finish many submissions either, and Cormier made a bit.
No, but he was a wrestler.
Yeah, true.
You know.
True.
Yeah, it was Stipe's. It was more. I was thinking more in the sense of, you know, Stipe doesn't wrestle probably as much as he should inside the octagon. You would imagine, because he's got such a good wrestling background, and I think, you know, in terms of submissions, yeah, he's not really, particularly not in the last. You know, his run in winning the belt was just knocking people out cold. So, probably just haven't seen it as much. But
he's got good defensive wrestling though. You know,
yeah.
Hard to take him down. You know, so I understand he doesn't. He's kind of like Chuck Liddell, you know. Like Chuck Liddell never wrestled. He was always a kickboxer, but like nobody was taking him. His wrestling was always about like getting back to his feet or like stuffing takedowns and then striking. I think Stipe is kind of the same. You know?
Actually it's a very good kind of an analogy. The two of them are very similar in style.
But
I think
Stipe's not kicking much, but.
I think Stipe's definitely got the better and cleaner boxing of the two, though. You know, Liddell. Liddell he could be sloppy at times. But here's one for you, Danny. Right? So obviously you've got Khabib with the Sambo background, and you got Usman. Who wins that if Khabib moves up? Because Usman's an exceptionally good traditional, both offensive and defensive wrestler.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Usman. Yeah. He's massive. The dude's huge.
Yeah, he's massive.
He's huge. Like, and Khabib I don't think Khabib is cutting like a huge amount of weight to make 155, you know. So I think if he goes up to 70, he gets fucking bodied.
Well, the thing is, though, he's had serious issues with his weight cutting it to 155. So he's a big 155.
Wasn't that once?
From like 200 or 210, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Usman's an animal, but yeah, it's more traditional, you know, just kind of. He's very, very clean, traditional wrestler, whereas Khabib can take you down by ragdolling you. So it's a different it's an interesting stylistic matchup. I
would take Usman. I think Khabib's too small. You know, I don't think he has a frame. I think Usman's cutting from, you know, I think he's cutting from a long way above where Khabib is cutting from.
Yeah.
You know. So like I don't think it's like Cerrone. You know what I mean? Going to 170. I think if Khabib went up, Usman would fucking body him.
Yeah.
Speaking of Cerrone, who you got him against Pettis in the rematch? That's a fucking great fight.
The Cowboy's my boy. Yeah, I'm gonna take Cowboy. Again, I don't know. Pettis I think has been on a weird little down slump over the last while. You know, Cerrone, I think, is kind of like he's kind of a journeyman in a way. Like I don't think he's ever going to be a champion at this stage.
Yeah, no.
Just too good for a lot of people to beat. You know what I mean? Like he's solid. He's like a solid number 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People be able to get through him. You know, a lot of people who like maybe might be able to beat the champion, they might not be able to get through Cerrone. You know, but I think Cerrone's going to batter, Pettis easy.
I hope so. So here's a very, very interesting stat that I looked at the other day. So like obviously, you know, Pettis has lost a lot as of late, and then he goes and he fucking knocks Wonderboy Thompson out in, you know, ridiculous fashion. But he is 9-9 in his last 18. Like Anthony Pettis.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
It's absurd though. Like 9-9, like, you know, Pettis was like, he was the pinnacle of the sport at one point.
It was unbelievable.
Like, it's crazy.
I was only watching that. I watched that Benson Henderson fight recently enough.
Yeah.
The fucking Showtime kick.
Yeah.
And like he was unstoppable back then. People were like, this fucking dude. I don't know, just whatever happened, he just fucking had a slide, man.
I think that's how much the sport has evolved, though. Really, you know, it goes to show you, like somebody like Pettis, exactly what you said. Like everyone thought the guy was never going to lose the fight, and then, you know, he's now somebody that can't win 3 fights in a row, you know, or 2 fights in a row even.
Yeah.
So it's
I'd be very surprised if he beats Cerrone, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I think Cerrone's striking is just. Like, Pettis has good kicks, but I think Cerrone's striking is much more solid overall, you know.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's a very game. Yeah. I think it's a very close fight. I think Pettis is pretty tough though. So I'm going either way. Like I'm going either way with it because obviously, like if Pettis starts quickly,
black belts. If it goes to the ground,
that'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's unreal though. Like you raise a good point there.
Triangle finishes, I think.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. Like the amount of strikers that are in the UFC that have black belts in jiu-jitsu, and it never gets talked about because they just want to throw it out. It's fucking mental. Like the elite level, ground specialists, and it doesn't really even get mentioned because they want to stand and trade. It's unreal.
Yep.
Danny, I wanted to dive in and get a grappling kind of an advice question, and if I could, we very briefly mentioned this off air. Long weekend coming up. I'm trying to get I guess some watching done, some catching up done. Can you recommend any recent, well maybe not too recent with everything locked down, but any kind of old grappling shows, any watchbacks? I know there's a lot on Fight Pass. Is there anything particular you've seen that you could recommend to me or anyone else that's interested in picking
up? Just entertaining shows.
Yeah, just I suppose just straight. I typically try on Fight Pass. I'd end up watching fight after fight after fight. I wouldn't necessarily dive into the gist first, but if I was to, or if anyone else was to, where would I start? Where's the best place to go? Yeah,
well, Fight Pass is great. There's a lot of EBI. All the EBIs are on Fight Pass.
Yeah. Eddie Bravo Invitational.
Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds is on that as well. So, like, there must be like fucking 12 or 15 of those shows at the moment. EBI between EBIs and Combat Jiu-Jitsu stuff. Once you're past that, then there's a lot of Polaris stuff on Fight Pass as well. Polaris is a great show, and then Submission Underground as well. There was a show on just at the weekend there. So
was there? There's a few still going ahead.
Submission Underground is, I think, it's in like a closed arena, so they just have like the camera crew and the fighters,
and the competitors.
The commentators are out of the room. I think it's only Chael Sonnen actually, but.
Right. Okay. Oh, right. He's in a separate location or in a room or something like that.
Yeah. He's got like a headset and shit on.
Jesus.
It's like a fireside chat, Oh, hey.
It's fucking mad times, isn't it? Absolutely mad times.
Yeah. I'm gonna get on some EBI, some Eddie Bravo invitational stuff this weekend anyway. But
awesome shit. Yeah. There's an Irish guy fought a few years ago, Dara O'Connell. On one of the EBI. I can't remember which one it was. It might be EBI 3. That's just a guess.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if do you know Dara?
I know the name. Yeah. So
he's pretty famous. He's a great. If you're interested in jiu-jitsu, he's got some great fucking highlight shit. But he's awesome. Yeah, he had a great run on EBI. He's probably like one of the at the moment anyway. He's probably like the best kind of competitive Irish black belt.
All right. Okay. I see.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, great coach. He runs East Coast.
Okay, right. Okay, yeah. Well, and he's still competitively grappling away. Yeah, I on that.
I think he kind of retired, but I think he's kind of back on the scene again. Whenever this comes back up, he retired last year, but I think he's back on the scene again this year.
Yeah.
But do you know that chick, Fionn Davies?
Yes.
Yeah. So Tara's a coach. She trains out in EBI or in East Coast with him.
Right. Okay. Yeah. She's incredible. She's a serious little phenom.
Oh, she's a beast. Yeah. Savage.
Yeah.
Tiny as well. She's only like 60 kilos. She's like fucking dudes up.
And she'd absolutely kill you. Yeah. There's a few there, right?
As well. She used to. She was on the fucking. I can't remember. But basically, professional judo for a long time. So she's a fucking tank. I wouldn't stand her.
You never know, right? This tiny little girl, you're walking down the street, you have absolutely no idea. She'd absolutely bury you. You know what I mean? No problem to her.
Sure, yeah.
Unreal. That's I always so. What was it? Was the first Khabib and Tony fight that got cancelled in New York with the injury to Tony. And the night before, Joanna and Rose Namajunas were fighting on that. And the night before, myself and my, at the time, fiance went down to like our regular spot, and most of the fight card were in this place called Rocco's Tacos in Brooklyn. And I'm walking along and I see fucking Joanna Jędrzejczyk just strolling along. And I stop and get a picture with her. Like, she's cool as fuck. And she stood next to me and she's like up to like here. And I'm just thinking the entire time, I'm like, this woman is a foot shorter than me and she would beat the living fuck out of me. Like, the entire time. That's the only thing I could think about. It's absolutely mental. Like, these 5'5", 5'6" women that could beat the shit out of most men on the planet.
Neil's a massive Joanna Jędrzejczyk fan ever since he met her. He keeps scoring all her fights.
It was long before that. He just gives me a hard time over it. But anyway, Danny, in terms of 10 Planet and stuff, like, how often do you interact with Eddie Bravo?
Not too much, honestly. I wouldn't say much of him at all. So most of our interaction is done through Jeremy. So Jeremy's my coach.
Yep.
So, like in terms of the 10 Planet stuff, like Jeremy's who I interact with. Does that make sense? So then Eddie is like Jeremy's coach. So that's kind of how the stuff works.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, Jeremy trains with Tony Ferguson and he's a second degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. So Danny's been rolling with some seriously good competition. And you said that's like 2-3 times a year or something that he comes out to Dublin, Jeremy? Yeah, so obviously he's got his own gym in California, so he spends most of his time in California. But then he'll come over to Europe. So Jeremy is like head coach with 10 Planet Amsterdam, and then with us in 10 Planet Dublin as well, So we try, if he's over here in Dublin, so last year we did a camp in Dublin, and Jeremy spent a bit of time in Amsterdam. And then last year as well, we had the camp in Amsterdam, and then Jeremy come over and spent a little bit of time in Dublin as well, So we try and get him whenever he's in Europe, nail him down into the to get him into the kind of individual gyms, But obviously, like, California is a fucking, the flights are crazy long. Jeremy's got a lot of stuff on in the meantime, So it's often hard for us to kind of get him into. Just to arrange a schedule so it's like good for him and it's good for us at the same time, Yeah. Have they brought you out to? Sorry, Danny, go ahead. You say that again.
I was just saying, any chance we get, we try and get him over when he's available,
Yeah. Do they bring you out there at all? Have you gone out there to see what the gym's like in California?
No, my plan was to get over this year, so.
Fuck.
I don't know if that's going ahead now, so. I was going to try and get out in December and just spend like a week or 10 days. And so Jeremy's only about 45 minutes drive away from 10 Planet headquarters, So I was going to try and get in like 3 days training, 4 days training, and then just like maybe drop into headquarters for a few days as well and see how that went. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the country goes.
Well, hopefully the plans aren't completely derailed anyway. Like, we can get the gyms open as quick as we can. I suppose they're not fully shut down, but in America at least there's still some training going on. But hopefully we can crack the doors open soon. But Danny, anyway, 10 Planet is North Strand, East Wall. Is that just
North Strand? Yeah, 10 Planet.
We can get it to. Obviously, we're trying to get it open as soon as we can.
We'll see. Yeah. However, whatever Leo Varadkar tells us, that's what we'll do.
That's true. We'll do what we're told, like everyone else. We'll be Danny. We'll be sure and tag all of 10 Planet's Instagram and stuff on all the posts. Really appreciate you coming on, man. Good to chat.
Yeah, Danny, good to chat with you. Thanks for getting me on the whiskey.
Cheers.
Have a good night, man. Thanks for joining.
Cheers, Danny, man. Take it easy. Peace. Get it down,
Off the bed.
See you, pal.
Am I hanging over? Are you?
I think I think it's gonna. Oh, yeah, I can remove you. Go on.
I get it.
Good night, Danny.
Get to bed. Cheers, Danny. Go on. Yeah.
Fucking hero.
Yeah, absolute legend. You know, he's yeah, that's the type of people that we want to be chatting with regularly. You know, somebody who's training with a guy. Unfortunately, we were actually supposed to have Jeremy on tonight. He, I believe, is currently training with Tony Ferguson. So Danny has trained with Jeremy before, multiple times. So it goes to show you how I suppose the level that he's at personally, because you don't roll with black belts at that unless you're very, very good. So Danny is obviously very, very good himself. And that's the sort of person that we want to be chatting with regularly. So